Hello and welcome. My name is Lorrayne Ham, and this is Living Your Best Life, the channel for starseeds, light workers, and all beings on the Ascension path. So today we're talking about a subject that is prevalent. We all have it, but it needs to be eradicated or at least tamed in our world. Today we're talking about fear. We're talking about the what ifs and how to calm the fear so that we can ride through these times easily and effortlessly. So, the thing that is keeping humanity controlled and trapped is our belief in fear. And what is the biggest fear that most humans have? It's the fear of death. So let's walk up against that edge. Let's dive over it and see what happens. So what if you died? What if? What would be the repercussions of you dying? First of all, for you wouldn't care. You wouldn't be here. You wouldn't be experiencing any of this. You would just be gone. And what is death really anyway? Death is a transformation, a transition into another place. The only way that death can be a fear is if you don't know your true source. If you don't understand that you are an eternal being and you just keep going on. So, what if you die? I encourage you to take yourself to that edge and dive over it. Discover what is underneath. What are the grains of sand that keep you milling over this fear? Because if you can get over the fear of death, which is the big kahuna, then nothing can actually affect you. Now, there are other mini fears. Well, they're not so many for most of us. So what if your partner dies? What if you lose your job? What if you lose your home? What if? See, I've done this exercise with myself in every area of my life so that I have in the back of my mind an eventuality, a plan, an idea of what would I do in the event of my what ifs. I've taken myself through every iteration of what could possibly be. And in the end, as eternal spiritual beings, none of this matters. This entire matrix is crumbling. And we all need to take ourselves to the what if, because every system that we have structured our lives on, no matter where we are in the world, every structure is crumbling. Every structure will be brought down. Our food supply, how we access foods, will be changing. Our banking system, how we access the monetary exchange of goods and services, will be changing. Our government systems, how we look to some external force that governs us and tells us, here's a secret. We are the eternal authority in our lives. We need to learn how to self-govern. We need to understand that we, the people of the world, determine our destiny. And we do this in many ways. We do it by our thoughts. We do it by our emotions. We do it by our actions. We need to learn how to become self-governing. We need to get involved in our local communities. We need to get to know our neighbors and the people in our world. We are going to need to count on them for all of our resources. You see, we've become accustomed to this global community via internet and access to the world. And yes, that form of communication will still exist. We will have better, more reliable, more access to a global world. But if your systems collapse, if your systems to transport goods across the world collapse, for instance, there was a time in our world where we didn't have fruit in the northern hemisphere in winter, or in the southern hemisphere in winter, in places where fruit would not grow because it was too cold. We didn't have access to that. So the only way that we had that available to us is we had to learn how to preserve it. So we are going to be asked during these times to relearn, to maybe for the first time, because we didn't grow up with that, learn how to grow food, preserve food, store food, relearn how to cook and what our sustenance in times of need. We're going to have to learn how to self-govern. We're going to have to learn how to teach and grow and expand in a whole new way. So the what ifs of life bring up the greatest fears. Bring up your greatest fear. So if you lose your job, what are you going to do? If you lose your home, what are you going to do? There are places, people, family, friends, because we are going to have to learn to be a community, supporting one another in times of need, combining our resources and our support and our ability to work. So if we have a community that's growing a garden, for instance, we have all that ability, all that labor ability, that physical ability to support the system. And we all share in the system. If we have a community that comes together and recognizes that someone in the community is going against the community, is disrupting the community, or causing harm to the community, what is the community going to do? The community is going to come together and address the problem. These are all things that we're going to have to learn how to do as we move forward. And does that mean that that's a bad thing? No. These corrupt, disruptive control mechanisms need to collapse, because here's the truth about you. You are the most important being in the universe. You, as a human embodied in form, are a powerful, creative force. And because of that, you have been controlled. You have been kept down so that you could not recognize the power that you hold, and you have been being fed off by other beings in the universe. So, as we grow, as we awaken, as we learn who we are, powerful star seed beings, powerful energy beings in the universe, all one, there's not a single one of us that is not connected to the other, no matter who you are, even those in the control system. You see, ultimately, when you look at the bigger, broader system, the bigger, broader, 10 million foot view of everything, you recognize that you are source energy in form, and that everything else, no matter what it is source energy in form. even the rocks and the solid whatevers. Everything that is created in this world and every world in the universe is source energy in form. And it's created through the power of our minds. So if you recognize that your mind and your thoughts are powerful, then you have to ask yourself, why am I creating such fear? Why would I want to keep recreating that in my world on a daily basis? Why would I not take the power of this energy and feed it into something that I love and desire? You have to get past the gut reactionary process, the fear. You have to get over it. So if you walk yourself to the edge of your fear, no matter what it is, partner dying, losing job, losing home, maybe even losing a child, if you walk yourself to the edge of that and you prepare yourself emotionally for that potentiality, then if that potentiality happens, you have a plan. You have emotionally addressed all of the potential outcomes of that event. Then you're not in fear. You're no longer being thrown into emotionality. You see, it's imperative that we feel. We are feeling beings, and we create and manifest through that. But we don't have to be in emotionality. There's a distinct difference between feelings and emotions. Emotionality means that we are taken away by it. We are in the flow of it, and we have no control of ourselves. That emotion has taken us over, and we are at the whim being batted about, as if you were in a washing machine being thrust about. When you take yourself in at a point in time where you're not having to deal with the emotions of things, if you bring yourself to the edge, the what ifs, in a calm and rational manner. You see, when we're in emotionality, our thinking logical brain disengages. We cannot think, which is why the control systems have kept us in fear and emotionality. Because then we can't think about a logical reason why perhaps they are behaving in the way that they're behaving. We can't ask the rational questions. So do yourself a favor and take yourself to the edge of what if. Ask yourself, what would I do if? Because once you are clear about your what ifs, nothing can rock your world. Now, there are some really weird things going on in our world right now that, as creators, out of our fears and the manipulation of the control systems, are being manifested. I'm telling you that if you take yourself to the what ifs, it will never manifest in your world. You are the power within your world. So once you've done all your what ifs, once you've taken yourself to the edge and you've gone through all of the feelings and emotions about it, and you've thought your process through, you've created a plan. What then? Well, what then is you spend your energy and time visualizing the world that you want. Visualizing a beautiful and joy-filled life. All of those things can come on the other side of you addressing your fears. So I encourage you to look at what your fears might be and take yourself to the edge. I hope this has been helpful. So much love to you. If you have any questions, write a comment below. I'm happy to answer them. Please like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already, as it really helps this channel grow. I so appreciate you. Until next time, many blessings.